This is World News from NFTV News Center. I am Temitope Oladipo. The International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA, Oyo State Branch, has called on Oyo State government, the Nigerian Police Force, and other security agencies to intensify efforts and rescue the abducted persons and prosecute the perpetrators of the evil act. Raphael Ogidon has the report.
The International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA Oyo State Branch, has called on the Oyo State government, the Nigerian Police Force, and other security agencies to intensify efforts to secure the release of the 39 students and 7 teachers abducted by suspected gunmen during an attack on schools in Ahoro, Esiele, Yawota area of Oriri local government area of Oyo State. The appeal comes 48 days after the incident, with FIDA also urging authorities to ensure that those responsible for the attacks are apprehended and prosecuted. The association made the call during a press briefing held at the Nigerian Bar Association Secretariat, Iyaganku, Ibadan. Addressing journalists, the chairperson of FIDA Oyo State, Ademboale Mercy Adelabu, appealed to Oyo State Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde, the Nigerian Police Force, and other security agencies to make the safe rescue of the remaining victims a top priority. She stressed that the primary responsibility of government, as provided by the Constitution, is the protection of lives and property. She therefore urged authorities to deploy every available resources to secure the release of the abducted citizens and reunite them with their families.
We unequivocally condemn this reprehensible act and call for the immediate and unconditional release of all victims. No child should be subjected to the fear, trauma, and uncertainty associated with adoption. Our hearts goes out to the affected children, members of staff, their families, and loved ones. His Excellency the Governor of Oyo State, His Excellency Seyi Makinde, the Commissioner of Police, the Director of the Department of State Services, the Commandant of Amotekun Corps, and all relevant security agencies to intensify efforts towards securing the immediate rescue and safe return of all victims. We urge the deployment of all available intelligence, technological, and operational resources necessary to ensure a swift and successful resolution of this matter.
Ademboale also called on government to comprehensively review security arrangements around schools and other public spaces to prevent future attacks and guarantee safety of citizens, particularly school children.
We further call on the Oyo State government to undertake a comprehensive review of security arrangements around schools and vulnerable communities through enhanced surveillance systems, improved intelligence gathering, strengthen community policing initiatives, and increase collaboration between conventional and local security structures. While government bears the primary responsibility for protecting lives and property, community vigilance remains an important component of public safety. We therefore appeal to traditional rulers, religious leaders, community associations, youth groups, and residents to cooperate fully with the security agencies by providing credible information that may assist in locating the victims and apprehending those responsible for this criminal act.
Member of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, Oyo State Branch, during the press briefing, observed a minute's silence in honor of Michael Oyedokun, a mathematics teacher at Community High School, Ahoro, Esiele, who was reportedly beheaded by the kidnappers after being abducted alongside 46 others. FIDA further appealed to community leaders to collaborate with security agencies by providing timely and credible intelligence that could aid the rescue operation. The association also urged government to provide psychological evaluation, counseling, and rehabilitation for the victims upon their release to support their recovery and reintegration into the society. Raphael Ogidon, NFTV News, Ibadan. The International Federation of Women
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said the opening of the new headquarters of the Economic Community of West Africa, ECOWAS, in Abuja, will renew the commitment to regional integration, peace, industrialization, and shared prosperity across West Africa. Tinubu christened the new edifice a symbol of renewal of resilience and the confidence of the future of ECOWAS. He called for a shift from the regional market to a regional production base, a statement by the Senior Special Assistant on Media and Communication to the Vice President Stanley Nkocha. At the inauguration of the new edifice in Abuja, Tinubu, who was represented by Vice President Kashim Shettima, said the new ECOWAS complex, described as the Eye of Africa, is a symbol of regional collective resolve to reserve the ideals that inspired the founding of the community more than 5 decades ago. The federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to making Nigeria's universities financially sustainable and globally competitive through the National University Advancement Program, a new initiative aimed at strengthening alumni engagement, strategic partnership, and institutional fundraising. The Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, made this known in the keynote address delivered at the closing ceremony of the National University Advancement Program, training for university officials. The position was contained in a statement issued by the Minister's Special Advisor on Media and Communication, Yukaru Hata. Alausa described the program as a strategic intervention designed to complement government funding by helping universities mobilize additional resources through alumni network, donor partnerships, endowments, and institutional collaborations. He explained that the initiative reflected the federal government's determination to build universities capable of competing globally while remaining responsive to Nigeria's development priorities. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities has warned of a fresh wave of industrial unrest in state-owned universities, accusing several governors of failing to implement the 2025 federal government ASUU agreement on salaries and welfare. The union specifically alerted Lagos, Gombe, and Plateau States to the growing discontent among the lecturers, saying continued delays could trigger avoidable strike and disrupt academic activities at institutions include Lagos State University, Lagos State, University of Education, Lagos State, University of Science and Technology, Gombe State, University of Plateau State, University of Plateau State University. For the past few days, members of ASUU across various zones have agitated over the failure of state government to ensure the implementation of the 2025 federal government ASUU agreement state-owned university. Addressing separate press conferences in Ikorodu and Gombe, ASUU leaders said 6 months after the agreement took effect on January 1, 2026, many state governments had yet to implement its provision despite participating in negotiations that culminated in the deal signed on December 23, 2025. The federal government and ASUU formally signed the agreement on December 23, 2025, replacing the protracted 2009 pact. We'll take a break now to return with business news. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now on business news, where the Minister of Power, Chief Joseph Tegbe, has assured Nigerians that electricity supply will improve significantly before the end of the year, saying the federal government was taking difficult but necessary decisions to reverse decade of underinvestment and poor management in the power sector. The minister also hinted at major policy decisions in the electricity sector, declaring that he was not afraid to make hard choices if they were required to deliver stable power to Nigerians. Tegbe spoke in Abuja during the official launch of the pilot phase of the African Mini-Grid Program, national project themed Powering Agricultural Value Chains and Stimulating State Energy Markets. The event, organized by the Rural Electrification Agency in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme and the Global Environment Facility, also marked the unveiling of 23 solar mini-grid projects across rural communities in Nigeria. The Nigeria Customs Service had said Nigeria's export trade recorded a major boost between January and May 2026, with export value rising to $1.218 billion as container throughput more than doubled during the period. The service said it processed 21,376 export containers during the 5-month period, attributing the improved performance to increased export activities and sustained trade facilitation measures. The National Public Relations Officer of the NCS, Assistant Controller of Customs Abdullahi Maiwada, disclosed this during a joint security briefing in Abuja. Represented by the Chief Superintendent of Customs, Titus Omojali, Maiwada said export earnings rebounded strongly after dropping to $171.76 million in March, climbing to $274.83 million in April, before peaking at $275.90 million in May. The report also showed that container throughput soared from 2,847 containers in March to 6,144 containers in April, representing an increase of more than 100%. And on foreign business, the United Nations has reaffirmed its commitment to deepening trade investment, security, and cultural ties with Nigeria as it marked the 250th anniversary of the independence, describing the bilateral relationship as one of its most important partnerships in Africa. Speaking at the Independence Day celebration at the U.S. Consul General resident in Lagos, Charge of Afia Kele Afen said economic cooperation had become the cornerstone of Washington's engagement with Nigeria and the rest of Africa. He noted that the U.S.-Nigeria relationship had grown steadily over more than 6 decades, with Nigeria now ranking as America's second-largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa. According to him, bilateral trade between the countries reached nearly $15 billion in 2025, representing a 14% increase over the previous year. You are still watching World News from NFTV News Center. Coming up after this break is news from the foreign scene. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us. Now on the foreign scene for these world news, the United Nations World Food Programme has warned that escalating conflicts and dwindling humanitarian funding are pushing northern Nigeria into worst hunger crisis in nearly a decade, with millions of people facing severe food insecurity. The agency said the food security situation had deteriorated faster than previously projected as renewed attacks across northern Nigeria continue to displace communities, restrict humanitarian access, and cut people off from food assistance. According to the recently completed KEDA harmonized analysis, more than 70 million people across 9 conflict-affected states in northern Nigeria are experiencing crisis, emergency, or catastrophic level of hunger, representing an increase of almost 2 million people since the previous projections. The report showed that Borno State remained the hardest hit, with more than 3 million people acutely food insecure following intensified insurgent attacks and reduction in food assistance. The statement added that more than 750,000 people in the state were experiencing severe hunger conditions, while over 10,000 people were facing catastrophic hunger. The United States has withdrawn most of its forces deployed for a joint counter-terrorism operation in Nigeria Lake Chad Basin. However, the country continues intelligence sharing, another form of security cooperation with Nigeria. The commander of U.S. Air Forces in Europe, Air Forces Africa, General Dagvin M. Addison, disclosed this during a digital press briefing on the outcome of the African Chiefs of Defense Conference 2026, where he highlighted the role of the U.S.-Nigeria intelligence cooperation in counter-terrorism operation against the Islamic State. He explained that while the specific military operation had ended and most U.S. personnel involved had left, Washington remained committed to supporting Nigeria through intelligence collaboration at the request of the Nigerian government. The U.S. general described Nigeria as a capable partner with a strong military, adding that the cooperation between countries had yielded significant results against ISIS. Russia launched hundreds of drones and dozens of missiles at Ukraine capital Kyiv in the early hours of Thursday, killing at least 30 people, wounding scores more, and damaging around 130 buildings in the deadliest attack on the capital this year. Multiple explosions shook Kyiv and reverberated across the capital throughout the night, and thousands of residents rushed to bomb shelters and underground metro stations. Ukraine's emergency service said the death toll climbed to 30 after 3 more bodies were recovered from the rubble, while 91 persons were injured. The head of the Capital Military Administration, Timur Chakunteu, had earlier warned that the toll was likely to rise as rescue teams walked through the night, sifting through rubble in the search of trapped residents. It's still World News on New Frontiers Television. Up next is Sport News after this break. Welcome back. Now on Sport News. President Bola Tinubu officially bid farewell to Team Nigeria ahead of the country's participation at the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, Scotland, as the federal government reaffirmed its commitment to the nation's athletes. The send-off ceremony held at the presidential villa in Abuja aimed to inspire Nigeria contingent as they prepare to depart for the United Kingdom, with the president charging the athletes and officials to compete with courage, discipline, and the resilient spirit that has become synonymous with Nigeria on the global sporting stage. Team Nigeria will depart the country today for Aberdeen, Scotland, where the athletes will undergo a 3-week intensive training camp before moving to Glasgow for the Games, holding from July 21 to August 2. Nigeria will compete in 10 sports with 74-member athlete contingent, aiming to surpass performance at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, while the country finished as Africa's highest-ranked team with 35 medals, 12 gold, 9 silver, and 14 bronze. Meanwhile, Nigeria Golden Eaglet depart Thursday night for China to compete on the 4-nation China International Youth Football Tournament in Yinchuan, running July 5 to 11. Host China, Australia, and Tanzania complete the field. Matches will be played at Yinchuan Sports Center Stadium. The 20-player squad is led by coach Uweja Mone, with assistant Kali Mohammed and Abdullahi Isa. And with that, we conclude World News from NFTV News Center. Many thanks for joining us. I am Temitope Oladipo. Good afternoon.